Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Rob. It's time for another overview, review, and install for my 2024 Mazda CX5. So here's the thing, guys. This kind of wasn't planned, so do excuse if it seems a little bit impromptu. But I realized that there aren't any 2024 CX5 Mudguard installation videos online right now. And due to that, I wanted to put one out because it actually is a little bit more technical than you'd expect a Mudguard installation to be. And I did change up a few things to, in my opinion, make the life of the installer a little bit easier. Now I want to show you guys exactly what I did. So I figured let's just get a video going. So let me show you guys. First we're going to do the rear mud guards on the CX5. Before we get started on now, let me show you guys the completed product. Looks pretty good. The back was actually an easier install. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. Alright, so first things first, apologies. I did take them off honestly before I decided to start recording. So you will want to take off the two push pins that were right here. They're just basic push pins you take off. So after this, we will be going underneath the CX5. Let me then show you guys the next step. All right, so we're gonna go underneath the CX5, and you will see two screws. One right here, so you see this one right here, and then the second one over here. So these two, they are both just a normal 8mm, so you will want to remove those. And after we remove those, go ahead and don't toss them, just save them. And let's go on to the next part. Now that we went ahead and removed the two screws, now we're able to pull back the liner much easier. Now I'm going to show you guys, we're going to be removing this hole in the liner. The reason being is that it gets in the way of the new mounting hardware that is coming with the mud guards. As you can see right here on the back end, this sort of, let's call this engraved square back there. Sort of, think about like a dotted line. You're going to be cutting along that. Let me get a little bit closer. So you're just going to make a nice little clean square. It doesn't have to be that clean because you won't even see it anyways. So let me go and show you guys how it's going to look after that. It's not the cleanest cut, but that's okay. Again, no one's going to be able to see it since the mud guards are going to be covering it. And the whole point is so that the hardware has a clear shot at the holes back there in the panels. On to the next step. Next step, guys, we're going to take one of these little pieces of mounting hardware. We're just going to go ahead and slide it right over the hole where we had cut out for the mud guards. So you see now what we were doing? We're just making a clear path for this piece. So when you slide this in, just remember that the flat side is what's facing towards the tire, right? So this little, this chunkier part back here where the threading is, that goes on the inside of the car. So let me go and slip it on. Let me show you guys how it looks. So if you're like me, you like seeing the finished product. So now you can see exactly why we made the cut. Now we can go ahead and see the mounting hardware is nice and perfect. On to the next step. Right, we're back under the CX5. So as you can see, you'll see this little notch right here when you're underneath. That's where we're going to put one more of the mounting hardwares, the silver ones. And again, put the flat side facing down. We are now going to be installing, actually reinstalling first the two screws. So remember, one went right here and the other is here. But we're also going to add the well nut. So this little piece right here, it's kind of annoying. It doesn't really want to hold in there for too long. Yeah, so you see that. But when you actually put on, the mud guards, a screw is going to go through it, and that's what's going to hold it up there. So let me go ahead and put the two screws in, and then let me show you guys actually fitting the mud guard. What screws are going to go where? So we have 4 screws left. One of them is actually just the push pin. This push pin, this is going to go up top in here. These 3 screws are all the same size. These are going to go one right here, this is going to go into that first part that we had cut out, where we cut out the little notch of the mud guard, in order so that we could go ahead and install the mounting hardware. This screw is going to go onto that second gray mounting hardware we put underneath, where that little U-notch is, and then we will be putting the next screw. This one will be going through the well nut that I had showed you guys. Is kind of weird about staying in the spot before you screw it in. So I showed you guys. Let's go ahead and let's actually. I don't want to tighten everything in yet. I just want to show you guys. So again, push pins up here. Down here is a screw through the mounting hardware. You go underneath. Here is the well nut with the screw going through it. And here is that second mounting hardware with the screw. Just tighten them in, guys. Let me go ahead and tighten that off camera. Let me show you guys. Excellent, guys. All right, now it's time to go ahead and move on to the front. We're now here at the front of the CX5. So you will see that there were 2 push pins here. There was one right here and one down here. You will remove them both, and the instructions are going to say you can discard one but keep the other. keep them both, you guys. You're gonna see why in the next part. You see this little piece right here, this little squared off piece? We're gonna be removing this. So let me show you guys. First, we have to remove fastener down here. You're gonna see it. Right here. So this fastener right here, let me see if I could get it to focus in. There we go. So we're going to remove that one, and then we're going to be able to pull out this whole piece. You just have to give it a little bit of elbow grease and pull it towards you, and it will come right out. And then let me show you guys essentially what my problem is with the manual and how I'm going to wreck it. I went ahead and we removed that piece. So let me show you guys essentially what Mazda wants me to do and why I'm not going to do that. So you see this hole down here. They want me to take this jack nut and essentially install it in here like so. If you don't know how jack nuts work, you usually have to use a tool, and that will essentially flatten out this bottom part. Kind of think like drywall screws, you know, the way they flatten out on the other end, so then you can get a screw in there. I'm not going to do that because you can do just fine reusing that second push pin that I told you guys to save. Because this is essentially just a 4-point of contact for the mudguards to hold. And this is underneath. So this really isn't a vital point of contact for it. So the way I see it is, why make life more complicated? Let's just go ahead and use the push pin. And I'll show you guys exactly how that looks. For the next part, you see this little circle right up here. You see how it has, let's let that focus in. You see how it has sort of this little stick in the middle of it? We're going to go ahead and we're just going to remove that. Just cut it out. Make this just a nice clean hole. Just use like a box cutter. If you have really, really thin snippers, go ahead. But yeah, just cut that out. Here's my nice little modification. I'm not going to lie. You might need to have smaller hands to get this done. So the instructions wants us to essentially pull out this part of the fender. So you see this whole piece right here? Like if this was like an off-road model, this would be like the black trim piece. This is all supposed to be able to pull out. Now, no matter what I tried, I could not get it pull out, and I was kind of worried I was going to break something. So I said, forget it. The whole thing is, here's this little piece of mounting hardware. Flat side goes towards the tire. You're supposed to be able to put that right there, behind the fender where you had just snipped out that hole. If you're like me and you have smaller hands, I was actually able to essentially finagle my hand, underneath and fit it on. It was a tight squeeze, but I was able to make it work. You might not be able to, and I do apologize if not. If you can't, then you will have to, essentially pull out this fender piece in order to get the clearance to do it. So let me go ahead. I'm going to install it, my way of finagling it in. Let me show you guys how it looks after. Let's see if you can see. You can see a little bit of metal behind there. So I went ahead and got that in. And I also did reinstall, that little bottom square that we pulled out. Just going to have to install first just this one push pin. Now for the next step. All right, you guys. So now let me show you guys where the screws go, just like I did for the back. As you can see, 4 holes, right? 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4. Up here at the top, it's going to be this tapping screw. Easy peasy. That's going to go in through where we had, snipped out that little piece to make that hole completely usable, and then we put on that fastener. This bottom one is going to be the small fastening. So you have 2 fasteners, guys, so check that out. Size-wise, one is small, one is larger. The smaller one is going to go up here, okay? The smaller one goes up top. I see a lot of people, the first time they install it, they put the bigger one up here and then it gets stuck and then that's a problem. Fastener number 2. This one is going to go right here. Let me into this little bend area. And now you're wondering, well, what about this 4th hole? This is where, like I said, I refuse to do the jack nut part because that's just silly. That's where we're just going to reuse this fastener right here. And let me just that in there. I'm going to hand a little bit harder, but there we go. So see that? That's going to work out perfectly. So let's go ahead and let's put it all together. And don't forget to take off the adhesive tape before you fit that on. All right, everything is on. You can see, not the hardest install, especially with my little workarounds. Definitely looks good. Not bad at all. Guys, so as you guys saw, I mean, it's not a hard install, it's just a little bit of an annoying install, but it's all done. The front and back mudguards are on here, they look pretty good. So there's the back, go out to the front. Definitely not too hard at all. It just have to be a little bit creative if you don't want to have to get like that JACKNUT tool or anything like that. And I mean, it's going to do the job, and that is protection. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments about the install. And with that, guys, this is Rob, and have a good one.